The House Intelligence Committee interviewed President Trump's son-in-law and White House advisor, that's Jared Kushner. That meeting on his ties to Russian officials and businessmen lasted almost 3 hours.
Republican Congressman Trey Gowdy is a member of the House Intelligence Committee that heard yesterday from Jared Kushner. He also became chairman of the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee last month. He's with us from the Capitol. Good morning, Congressman.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. I know you and your colleagues questioned Jared Kushner for about 3 hours yesterday. Did you learn anything different from his 11-page statement?
No, we did ask him to extrapolate. For instance, there's one quote where he says, "I didn't collude and I'm not aware of anyone with the campaign." I went ahead and asked him, are you aware of anyone not with the campaign who colluded, coordinated, conspired, confederated with Russia? He was unequivocal in his answer, which was no to all of the questions on both sides, both the Democrat and Republican side.
Did you find him truthful?
You know, I'm not a human polygraph. I spent 16 years in a courtroom trying to figure out whether or not a jury would believe someone or not. And you believe people when there's corroboration for what you say. For instance, Jared Kushner said he left the meeting in June of 2016, the Donald Trump Jr. meeting. He said he left shortly after he got there. Were there two emails that corroborate that, where he is telling his administrative assistant, "Get me out of here as quickly as you can"? The most telling email to me was the one the day after the election, where he had to ask someone, what's the name of the Russian ambassador, because he couldn't remember. That ain't very good colluding when you can't remember the person you're supposed to be colluding with.
Let's turn now to President Trump's comments about the Attorney General and Jeff Sessions, calling him very weak in public. This is the top law enforcement official in the United States government. Are those comments out of order, wrong?
Well, they're not helpful. I think that you ought to praise in public and critique in private, and you shouldn't make personnel decisions, particularly at the cabinet level, via Twitter. It's a really hard job. The Attorney General doesn't work for the president. He works for a blindfolded woman holding a set of scales. It's a really important job that means a lot to me. I understand the president's frustration. Attorney General Sessions should have been more forthcoming with the meetings he had with Russians during the confirmation process. But this is best discussed privately between two grown-ups, and if he's lost confidence in him, then Attorney General Sessions can take the appropriate steps. But doing this publicly, I don't think helps our justice system.
You were saying that the Attorney General should have recused himself, aren't you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
He didn't have any choice but to recuse himself. Now, he also should have told everyone about all the meetings he had with Russian diplomats or ambassadors. We shouldn't have to wait on the New York Times to tell us. He should tell us.
So the president is saying that if, in fact, the Attorney General that I'm planning to nominate had told me that he was going to do exactly what everybody thinks he should have done, he would not have nominated him to be his Attorney General, which is very strange, isn't it, on the face?
I don't think so. If I were interviewing people for the AG job, I would want to know, is there any reason you can't do the job? Are there any cases that you would need to recuse yourself from? I mean, let's don't kid ourselves. Jeff Sessions is not the only person in America qualified to be the Attorney General. I can name a bunch of people right now. So when you're going through the vetting process, one of the questions you ask is, are there any cases you're not going to be able to oversee or participate in? And when the answer is, yeah, there's a really big one because I didn't tell everyone about my meetings with Russian diplomats, that's something I would want to know.
What happens if the President of the United States fires Robert Mueller?
He can't fire Bob Mueller.
You meaning the Deputy Attorney General can? Or
the only person who can fire a special counsel is the Attorney General, who is recused, which means it's the Deputy Attorney General, Rod Rosenstein. So
and that's
there are a lot of moving parts for the president to be able to fire Bob Mueller.
The president has indicated in an interview with the New York Times that he is considering this, that he has consulted with advisors, that if Jeff Sessions resigns or is fired while the Congress is on recess, someone can be put into that role of Attorney General and won't have to be confirmed by the U.S. Senate. Does that worry you?
I don't like recess appointments. I didn't like it when President Obama did it. I don't like it when Republican presidents. It circumvents the Constitution, and you can put me in the category of not liking recess appointments. I don't think the president's going to do that. And it would be a tough rest of his first term if he began to go the recess appointment route.
Congressman, this is a yes-no question. Should Robert Mueller be fired?
No. That's an easy. I could give you a two-word answer, but it's family television, so I won't do it.
Okay.
Does the first word begin with an H?
With an H.
No, but don't tell my wife I said that.
All right, Congressman Gowdy, rocking the new stubble look. Is that a new look for you these days? Very nice.
Well, thank you. You're the first person to say that, and there are a million that have said otherwise, so thank you.
Well, Gail
Well, we can
likes to
testify
comment
she's a
on.
woman of great taste.
Gail will always comment on lawmakers' appearance.
Yes, yes. You look good, Congressman. Thank you very much for
Thank you.
joining us today. Really appreciate
Thank
it.
you all.
Thank you all. I like